Aloha, cuz it's Briar626 here, and today we're going to be talking about the strongest deck in the Bakugan Pro TCG. In fact, this deck is so strong, it takes Sync and just burns it to a crisp. It takes Rapid Fire and burns that deck out. It is not even good anymore. This deck is so strong, we like to say, yes, Serp, it is. Because it is SerpBurn. It is Serpentine's Burn. It is the best deck. And here's the reason why. It is because of one set. It is because of Shields of Destroya. That set released two very powerful cards for this deck. And that made the deck so good, so consistent. It made the deck just go off completely. And there is no stopping it. As soon as it starts to burn, that thing just goes into like a wildfire and nothing can stop it. It is so powerful. It's gone undefeated in multiple tournaments. It's gone undefeated in little brawls, not in tournaments, but just little case brawls. It is so powerful that nothing can stop it. Not even Pack of Darkness. It is so good. So let's go ahead and see why this deck is so good. So let's start off with the Bakugan. Our first Bakugan we have is the Pyrus Serpentes. It's a green fist, fire fist, 600 B power, 1 damage. So this Bakugan's your main go-to. This is kind of the whole reason why you're running this deck is with this Bakugan, so you kind of have to run him. Next up we have is the Arliss Hydroid Ultra. It is a double fire fist, 200 B power, 2 damage, and if he's holding a fire fist plus 1000 B power, so really powerful guy. Our next powerful one we have is the Aquas Hydrus. It's a Helix Green Fist, 400 B power, 4 damage, and if it is holding a Helix, plus 500 B power and 5 damage. So very powerful. So you have some very strong Bakugan here, and then your Pyrus one is just really nice to be able to get your main deck off, basically. So for first Bahu core we're going to be having is the Helix. The Helix is plus 600 B power and minus 3 damage. So very powerful one. Our next one, we're running 2 of the Green Fists, plus 2 damage and minus 2 to a Bahu gear, just so we can get this Bahu gear out a little bit easier. Our next one we're going to have is going to be 1 Fire Fist of plus 250 B power and plus 3 damage. This is there for Hydroid to get to that, those big numbers. And then lastly, our last 2 Fire Fists is going to be the 200 B power plus 3 damage and minus 2 to a Bahu gear. This is just so that you can get those Bahu gears out a lot quicker as well. So for our first EVA, we're going to have 3 copies of the Hyper Serpentes. Now this is basically whenever you land on a Fire Fist and it opens on it, you get to burn your opponent down for 5 damage. So that's just easy ways to just get your opponent down to 0, and that is the main win condition of this deck. Our next EVA we have is 2 copies of the Titan Hydroid Ultra. Now this is just in here just because I needed to fill some space. You don't really need it, but it does help when it does. It basically makes your Titan Hydroid even better. Makes him a whole lot stronger than he originally was. Next up we have are the Reroll Cards. Now these are the cards of the main engine of the deck so that you can reroll your Serpentine so that you keep burning you down your opponent down to 0. And our first reroll card we have is 3 copies of Quickfire. Now Quickfire is just going to let you burn your opponent for 1, and then you get to reroll your Bakugan, which is really nice, getting that extra burn in there and just being able to reroll so that you can burn again for Serpentine. So you're burning for pretty much 6 damage off of Quickfire, which is really nice. Next up we have is 3 copies of Superfuel. Now this is a very powerful reroll. So 1 cost, you reroll your Bakugan and you can open on the reroll. The next card you play this turn is going to be 3 energies less to play, so very powerful card. Next up we have a newcomer, which is 3 copies of Energy Sphere. This is a 1 cost Rapid Fire card, and then you may reroll your Bakugan, and Rapid Fire basically says the second Rapid Fire card you play this turn is for free, so you play 1 Energy Sphere and then play the next one for free, so which is really nice. For 1 energy, beating 2 rerolls is really good. Next up we have is 3 copies of Deep Dive. Now this is a 1 cost card that says draw a card and you may reroll your Bakugan, so being able to just drawing cards is really good because you're going to need to keep rerolling Bakugan, so you need to draw those rerolls. Next up we have is 3 Dark Waters. Now this is a 1 cost plus 200 B power, and you may reroll your Bakugan, so getting that extra B power in onto your Bakugan and being able to reroll your Bakugan is really good. And finally, we have is Tempest Generator. Now this is a 2-cost Bahu gear, and it says when you play this, you may reroll this Bakugan, 1 HP power and 1 damage. You're basically going to be playing this for free on top of the Fire Fist that minuses 2 energies to a Bahu gear. So you're playing this for free to reroll your Bakugan, and you get an extra 100 BP power and an extra 1 damage, so which is really, really nice. So there are, of course, 18 rerolls in this deck. Very, very good to be basically half of your deck is reroll so that you can just get that Serpentine out as quick as you can and burn your opponent down to 0, which is really, really good. Next up we have is the consistency cards. This is the cards that are going to let you be able just to get all your combo pieces into your hand a lot quicker. Drawing cards, whatever you need, this is just kind of help speed up the deck a little bit more. And our first one we have is 3 copies of Bahu Treasure. This is a 0-cost card. It says draw 1 card. That's basically it. You draw 1 card for 0 energies, so you can get those rerolls, those evos, the gear, whatever you need a lot quicker. So this is a very good card to have and to be able to play for 0 energies. Our next card is going to be 3 Pyrostorm. Now this is a new coming card that just came out in Shields of Astroya. It is basically going to state, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. You may put up to 1 action, Bahu Gear, Evo, and Hero card revealed this way into your hand, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So this is a very, very powerful card. Being able to grab up to 4 cards from your deck and putting it into your hand is really, really good. And then you can put the rest of them into your bottom of your deck so that you can basically know that you're going to get into them later on or save them for later, which is really, really good. Next up we have is 3 Song of Fire. There's a 3-cost plus 5 energies for the turn, so you're going to use this with Super Fuel so that you can get it out turn 1 and get out Hyper Serpentine out a lot faster. Because that is main thing you want to do is get that Serpentine out as quick as you can. And then next up we have another new coming card, which is 2 copies of Arlen Accelerator. This is a 6-cost Bahu gear, has 4 HP power, 4 damage, and it adds 4 armor rating. Now what this is going to do is basically it's going to take the 1, so you flip this over for the 1, and then you absorb the next whatever number it is. So this is 4, so you're basically absorbing 5 damage with this 1 card, which is super nice. Since I'm not running any flips, this is a card you're going to use so that you can stop the damage either from another SerpBurn or even from some other cards that are going to be dealing damage. This just takes that 5 damage and just says, cool, I'll take the 5. And that protects yourself. It absorbs all that damage, which is really, really good. And then next up we have, of course, is 3 copies of Shinkazumi from Battle Resurgence. Now this is a hero card. Of course, whenever you open your Bakugan, you get to draw a card. So since you're rerolling a lot, might as well play it because you're just going to keep on drawing cards you're going to need until you basically deck out or until you just win the game because of how much rerolls you've done in the turn. So very, very powerful card. Just being able to draw every card you need in your deck. And last but not least, we have Dan Kuzo. Now this is a 4-cost, of course, and when you open your Bakugan, reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's not a flip, you play it for free. Since you're re-rolling constantly in this deck, you can trigger Dan off a tremendous amount of times. I mean, you're always going to be triggering off Dan. Whenever you re-roll, you just re-roll Dan, and you get to play cards for free, so you can re-roll again to activate Dan again, and you just keep going over and over and over again, and you just keep burning out your opponent with Hyper Serpentine because of how many re-rolls you're going to flip on top of Dan. So which is really, really powerful card here in the deck. So I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile of the SerpBurn Undefeated deck. And if you did enjoy it, make sure you click that like button down below. And if you're new, go ahead and click that subscribe button and become a cousin in our family. And make sure you click that bell icon so you guys get notified of videos just like this one here. Because if you guys want to see some brawl videos of this, let me know down in the comments down below. And by hitting that like button so that you guys can see some really strong brawls with this Bakugan deck. And remember, Ohana means family, and family means no one gets left behind or forgotten. And I will see y'all next time. Bye!